talk about something for a minute? I've put together some points down so that we can have this conversation in a very real and honest way. So sometimes I really wonder how my life would have been if certain women didn't cross my path. Yeah, these are women who have encouraged me, women who have prayed with me, women who have corrected me. And they didn't just pray with me, they prayed for me. Oftentimes, when things happen and it's like I forgot who I was, they reminded me again who I was. And it made a whole lot of difference. It made me realize something that as women, we talk a lot about purpose, we talk a lot about our destiny, but then we often forget the people that God have used to shape us to truly become who God destined us to become. Why? Because God's plan for our life, we're not meant to do life alone. We are meant to do life with our community. These women the women in your community influence how you pray, they influence how you see things, and they influence how you see yourself and the decisions that you take. And this is why the conversation for today matters. Hello and welcome to Talk with Aijay. Here we have real faith, real conversation, and real growth. Let's talk. Today we're talking about 5 women that every Christian woman needs in her circle. Now let's get to number 1. Spiritually, professionally, and in so many ways, even parentally, if there's any word like that, because you find out how other women are doing it, and then you can learn and unlearn or contribute, whichever one that is needed at that season. Is the woman that tells you the truth. Yes, as women, we enjoy encouragement. We enjoy being given our flowers all the time. We enjoy compliments. A lot of us like it when we're being told, "Oh my God, you're so great, you're good, you're beautiful." Don't get me wrong, because I love it. I love it. Give me my flowers when I'm alive. I'm part of that school of thought that believe in it. And honestly speaking, give people their flowers. When people do good, encourage them, compliment them, give them the whole garden if they deserve it. But then there are women that need to tell you the raw truth. There are women that need to be honest with you. You see, I've seen some certain women, they are misbehaving, and their group of friends, their clique, will be hyping them, telling them, "You go, girl, you rock, you're good," when they actually know that they are headed the wrong way. If you have such people in your life, you know, you you are in a, I don't know which word to describe you. You're in a dark place. Yes, you know how they say people are in a dark place. You are in a serious and a terrible dark place when you have people in your life that do not tell you the truth. They do deceitful speech with you. They know that you're headed the wrong way. They can't tell you, maybe because they feel they feel that you won't listen to them. No, the ones that are true, that really love you, they will bring you to order, and they will, whether you listen or you don't listen. Someone like me, the first question I ask myself is, what would Jesus do? What is God going to say concerning this person that I know? So when I think about what God would ask me concerning you, I'm not thinking of whether you're going to listen to me. In that space in my head that is thinking of how I'm going to honor God and the love I have for God and for you, I will call you. So there are such women, but then there are a group of women that they won't want to call you because they don't want to be the one to spoil your mood when they know that the mood is putting you in the wrong direction. Comes a point in one's life when encouragement is not enough. Yes, sometimes what we need is honesty. Honesty, like real honesty. Have you ever had a friend tell you something not because she wanted to hurt you or she wanted to end your relationship or she wanted to spoil something that both of you have shared, but because she really wanted the best for you, because she loved you too much to stay silent? These conversations are often uncomfortable, but they are very, very necessary. You know what the Bible says in Proverbs? I think it's in Proverbs 27, sorry, verse 6. It says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend." you know, and the first time I read this scripture, it sounded strange because I asked myself, what has faithful got to do with wounds? How can a wound be faithful? you know. But then, right now, the older I get, or now that I'm older, I understand it better. Sometimes people who help us to grow are not the people who always make us comfortable. Yes, they are the people who will give us a little discomfort because they love us too much and they don't want us to get hurt. So, truth sometimes and most times is uncomfortable. So, when everyone is clapping for you because they don't want to be the one to tell you that you're heading in the wrong path, they're going to call you and say, listen, this direction you're towing, it's not good for you. So, they won't allow you to settle. They won't. People will tell you, oh, you go, do you, when they know that do you is not getting you in the right place. Um, they're the ones that'll tell you, I don't think this relationship is healthy for you. See the way it's draining you. You're losing yourself. It's not healthy. And because they love you, they're always willing to risk. They're always willing to risk your temporal discomfort. You need to examine your circle. Are they telling you the truth? Or are they doing deceitful speech with you? The truth doesn't mean that they will talk to you harshly or arrogantly, that or they will be critical. No, it's different. I mean, telling you the truth lovingly, telling you the truth because sometimes we're too close to a situation that we don't see it clearly ourselves. The number two woman. The number two woman is the woman that pushes you closer to God. Who are the women? The women in your circle, do they push you closer to God or do they push you further away from God? Every friendship affects your relationship with God in the very same way. There are women that when you spend time with them and you leave their presence, you feel inspired, like you're gingered. You leave that conversation wanting your prayer life to get better. You leave that conversation wanting to leave a particular habit. There's something that you're doing and you feel that, oh, it's time for a change because you had a conversation with that person. Those kind of women are a gift. And I think that they are women that every woman should have in her circle. Now, it's not because she's so perfect or she has everything figured out, but it's because her heart genuinely seeks for God. So when she finds herself in the midst of people, it is felt. That heart posture is contagious. So she rubs it off on anyone that comes around her. You know, Hebrews 10:24, verse 25, I would paraphrase, it encourages us to love one another, encourage one another, and spur each other to Christ. So there are such women that when people come around them, they just want to be good, they want to do better. You get what I mean? The truth is that God didn't call us to live Christianity in isolation. God didn't call us to live. You know, I had this friend, I don't know if I've told the story here. The moment she gave her life to Christ, we were still in secondary school then. She stopped talking to myself. We were a group of three. She stopped talking to two of us. And I was shocked because the little I knew then about being a Christian was that you had to love people, you had to encourage them, you had to be patient with them. Mama, my friend stopped talking to me. And I didn't remember us fighting. I didn't remember us having an argument. I remember one day because I called her to a shop. There was a shop beside my house. I called that day. We went there and I said, I noticed that you stopped talking to myself and this other friend. What did we do? She said nothing. And she had just gotten born again and she was just attending a certain church like that. I went to her house, asked her again. Maybe she wasn't comfortable at the place where I asked her. But when I saw that this babe, she wasn't interested in having anything to do with the two of us, I left her. But I was confused. And my confusion was I thought that her becoming born again, that she was supposed to encourage us and spur us to become born again too. Not that both of us didn't know God, but just that we weren't attending the same church. Because in that time and era, if you weren't attending Pentecostal church, you were not tend to know God. So it was like she was pretending God. We didn't know God. So what am I saying? Christianity was never meant to be lived in isolation. So every woman needs someone who will remind them who they are. Every woman needs someone who will encourage them. Every woman needs someone who will remind them to trust God when life seems as though it's falling apart. We need people who remind us to keep going when we're tired. People who remind us to trust God when life doesn't make sense. Everyone, that one, everyone needs that kind of woman in their corner. People that will remind you, keep going at those moments when life is so dark and it doesn't make sense. People who remind you of the truth that God has called you into. You know, when your feelings are louder than your faith, they're going to be the ones that you will draw faith from. You know, those moments that you can't pray, you can call them to pray for you. And you know that they are praying for you. You see, there are a few people in my life that sometimes when I feel so low, I can't pray. I call them and I say, please pray for me. And I can go to sleep because I know that when they say they will pray, they are not lying. They will actually pray. We need such people in our life, you know. And that reminder often comes with, it could be a simple conversation, it could be a prayer, a text message. Sometimes it's a voice note that they will send to you that encourages you, that lets you know that you have someone in your corner. Number three, the number three, I love this one so much. I love this one so much. The woman who celebrates you without competing with you. This is amazing. This is so powerful. Yes. Can we talk honestly about this one? Let's just be real, because this one is rare. It's actually very, very rare, especially amongst women. It's easy to celebrate people when life is going well for us too. So your business is going well, your friend's business is going well, or you're a corporate girly, you're doing amazing, your friend is doing amazing. But what about when you're waiting for marriage and she's getting married and she's been married 5 years, you're not married? What about when she's doing well in her career? She's bringing in the millions, the billions, but then you're struggling in your business. You don't have a job. Sometimes you begin to see that, oh, she's supposed to be giving you part of her millions since you're not making any. Actually, is that not what friendship is about? Easy to celebrate people when life is going well for us too, you know, but it's much harder when we're waiting for something that we haven't received yet. So maybe you're waiting for a marriage, you're waiting for a job, but your friend has a job, she's married. Maybe you're waiting for a breakthrough, maybe has just arrived. You were even praying together, but then her breakthrough arrived, and you've been waiting for 1 year, 2 years, 2 years, 3 years. Yours is yet to arrive. Those moments reveal a lot. They tell us a lot. One of my favorite scriptures to explain this is the story of Mary and Elizabeth in the Bible. When Mary arrived carrying the promise that God has placed inside her, Elizabeth didn't compete. She celebrated, she rejoiced, she recognized what God was doing. And I think that's beautiful because comparison destroys so many friendship. It has destroyed a lot. In celebration is what strengthens friendship. Friendship that has been built over the years should not die because of comparison. Every woman needs at least one friend that can clap for her when she's winning without competing with her. Yes, a friend who doesn't secretly resent her success, a friend who doesn't turn every conversation into a competition, a friend who sees that there's room for all to win, a friend who genuinely says, I'm really happy for you, and truly means it. Everyone needs that kind of friend in her corner. And when you have that kind of woman, when you have that kind of friend, protect her. You've got a good friend. Number four woman. Wow, I can't believe we're already in number four. The woman who has gone ahead of you. Yes. One thing I've learned in life is that there are a lot of things that wisdom can save you from. One thing I've learned is that wisdom can save you years. Yes. Not because the people that have gone ahead of you or wise people are perfect. No, but because experience has taught them lessons that books most times don't teach. Think about Ruth and Naomi. Naomi wasn't perfect. She was also going through things herself. She had her own pain. She had her own struggles. Naomi had her own disappointments. But she had walked the road Ruth had never walked. So, because of that, she was able to offer guidance to Ruth. In our life, we need women like that. Women who have gone ahead of us in marriage, women who have gone ahead of us in business, women who have also gone ahead of us in parenting. These days, we need to learn. There are when you see people that have raised 3 boys or they've raised 2 girls and their head is correct, there's wisdom that is to be learned from them. They've gone ahead, they can guide in certain things. Sometimes one conversation from a wise woman can save you from mistakes that will take you years to recover. So don't undervalue or undermine the power of wisdom. Every Christian woman needs someone who has gone ahead of her, someone whose life reminds her that the journey is possible. Now we're heading to number 5. Number 5, and I'm excited for this one. And this one, I think, is my favorite. I think it's my favorite of all because life has a way of making us forget. Sometimes things happen. You tend to forget God's promises. You tend to forget who you are. It happens once in a while. Sometimes because we've gone through a very difficult time, we begin to question or doubt the things, the gifts and talents that God has deposited in us. We start questioning, so we start wondering if we're enough. I think that sometimes we find ourselves in that position, and that's why every Christian woman, that's why every woman needs someone to remind her who she is, someone who can say, this is not the end, this is not who you are. God is not finished with you. Someone who will remind you, like the things you've done in the past, how well, the successes that you've gotten previously, and will say to you, do not let the situation define you. God has done it in the past. God has been with you in the past. Even in Ecclesiastes, it says 2 heads are better than one. So I love that. So sometimes strength may look like you borrowing it from someone. Yes, you having strength may look like you borrowing hope from someone else. Every woman needs that friend that reminds her who she is, especially at those moments that she feels down. The one who reminds her when life tries to convince her otherwise that she can do this. So, as I was preparing for this conversation, I realized something, that at different seasons and different stages of my life, I have needed every one of these kind of women. There were points in my life that I needed someone to tell me the truth. There were points in my life that I needed encouragement. There were points in my life that I needed wisdom. And there were points in my life that I needed accountability. Maybe as you've been listening, one of these women came to mind for you. Or maybe you realize that there's an area where your circle is lacking. Or maybe there are people that you need to be this kind of woman. One thing I want to say is that a healthy community is built over time, and we all need that. There are stages in your life that you need a woman to hold you accountable. There are stages in your life that another woman would also need you to hold her accountable. We don't just need these women in our lives. What I'm trying to say is that we also need to become these women. More than that, you become that woman who tells the truth with love to another sister. You're not that person who will speak to someone else harshly or rudely because you want to tell her the truth in love. That's not telling the truth in love. Learn to speak the truth to your fellow woman in love. Be the woman who would point other women to God. Don't be the one that will misdirect another woman. Be the woman who would rate other women without competing, without wondering if she's the only one that is always successful. What about other people? Or you lie to her face, congratulating her when deep down you're not truly happy for her success. Be the one that honestly celebrates another woman's success. Be the one who shares wisdom to the younger ones. Don't be the one misleading the younger ones, hyping them to their destruction. Be the one guiding them correctly. Be the one who holds other people accountable. Be the one who reminds them of who they are. Because you never know how God can use your words, your friendship, your encouragement, or your presence in someone else's life. You know, none of us become who none of us become who we're supposed to be alone. We all need each other. We all need one another. And one of the greatest gifts that God has given us is the gift of people. So it's important for us to learn to become better people and also to steward the relationships, the people that we have around us in the right way. Let me know in the comment section which of these women have had the biggest impact in your life. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And until next time, let's continue to have real faith, real conversation, and real growth. Bye.